Hello, Jax West, not related to the Avery family. I'm an advocate for the wrongfully accused. And this live is to talk about my visits today with Marni Yang and Melissa Kaluzinski. And you can shoot me some questions about the visits. We're not getting into any of the other stuff, even though I'm sure that's people are always going to ask that same old stuff. So, all right, visit with Marni. I'm going to cover Marni first because she's my first visit. So when I go to Logan Correctional, we'll just go through this for those who don't know what it's like to go visit an inmate. So at Logan Correctional, you walk into the first building. You have to check in there where you have to fill out on the clipboard. You have to put the date you're getting there, or the time you're getting there. I have to put my first and last name. Then I have to put the inmate's first and last name and their inmate number. I have to put my license plate and make and model of my car. And the only things that you can bring in with you is you always have to bring a driver's license. So they need to see your license. You can bring the debit card that you get from them, that you use that card then to purchase all the food in the visitor's room. So the only way you can put money on that is at this little ATM-like machine that's there in the lobby. So you have to show them at the desk that you have X amount of dollars that you want to put on that card. And then when they're through with you there, they'll tell you to go put your money on there because you can't bring any cash into visiting. It has to just be on that card. So then you walk through their metal detector that at Logan Correctional doesn't work. I don't know the point of it, but no. So the metal detector goes off for everybody who walks through, but nobody does anything about it. So I don't know what the real purpose of that is. So then I have to walk to the other side of the desk where now somebody needs to look me over. And so like I've got two clips in my hair. So one is here holding my bangs in this little poof thing, and then one's holding the back of my hair. So I now know the spiel from going there. So I always go, okay, there's two clips. I used to not wear jewelry at all, but now I keep because I usually have earrings in. So I'm like 4 earrings. I don't wear any other jewelry from it. Then they need to know your belt. So I'm always lifting my shirt and going black belt. And then they want to know your shoes, so black shoes. And so they write that all down. And then they also assign you a number because you bring your car keys in. Now they hang the keys up on a hook that every hook is numbered. So they're writing on that sheet what number hook your keys are on. Then I have to go sit on a bench that's next to this closet until a female guard is free. And so we're all lined up there that need to be searched. And so then when you're able to get searched, you walk in the door and you just walk straight ahead. So now your back is to the officer, who then walks in the room, closes the door. Every search I get is different, even when it's the same person, because I go typically every other Wednesday. So it's this, and I'm there at the same time. So it's the same people working that shift every time. So it'll be like the same. And it's only a woman who pats down women that go in, and male pats down the male. So I just have to stand there, and I have to put my arms straight out, and she just does a quick little thing down my back. She's like not grabbing my chest, or, you know, there's no real search. I mean, I totally, if I wanted to, I could be bringing stuff in, because they really don't do a thorough pat down. And then I have to take off my shoes one at a time and show her the bottom of my feet. So I always make sure I'm wearing shoes that are easy to just slip on and slip off. You can't wear a tank top. And actually there was somebody who came there today who was wearing a tank top, and they won't let you in unless, now, do you have a coat or something in your car that you can put on? So you have to have a shirt with sleeves. You can have shorts on, but they want the shorts to go to your knees. Your shirt can't have any cleavage. And I don't know if you saw the picture that I posted of Melissa and I, but I was like, ooh, I put the shirt on, and then it wasn't until I got there, I'm like, okay, does this count as cleavage? I don't know. So then I kept, trying to like pull my shirt back constantly, because it's like, I don't know if that's supposed to be cleavage or what. So now, after you've been patted down, you walk around a corner, and now you sit on another bench until an officer is ready to walk you to the visitor's room. And the way Logan Correctional is set up is, I always say, it's like a campus. There's all these buildings all over. So like where the inmates live, it's not cells. It's not like what you see in the movies that a prison's like, and that, it's the multiple floors, and, they're just in these rooms with the bars, the bar door or anything like that. They're like little houses, but each house has a left wing, a right wing, and a center wing, so it's divided up like that. So, but it's like dormitories. So you wait until they feel like walking you to the visitor's room. So once they're ready, you walk out the back door of that first building. We walk down a sidewalk to a guard shack, where there's people that are sitting behind a desk there. It also has a little tower thing on the top that today's the first time I've saw a dude that was up there. The window was open and he was just kind of hanging out, seemed to be goofing off. So you just walk through that little guard shack, and then you're on the sidewalk again, and then there's where the big fence is, the big gate. And so you have to stop there and wait for an officer to unlock the gate and an officer to open the gate. You don't touch that. And so then you walk through there, you cross the street, and it's funny too, when Melissa and Marni will talk, they'll say, well, my neighbor across the street, so it's like a little town, so you cross the street and you walk the sidewalk. And I have to tell you, it's one of the things that I wish I could bring my cell phone in so I could take pictures and show you the gorgeousness of, and it's the same girl every time that when I see them outside, somebody working outside on the beautiful gardens there, all the flowers, so many different flowers, butterflies all over. It's absolutely gorgeous. And like when you see the dirt is hard and dry looking. You can't believe this beautiful stuff is growing out of those conditions. But so you're walking along a sidewalk in between all the flowers. There's another building over here, which I believe they do some of the schooling in. Classes are in that one. But you walk past that building, then there's stairs. You have to walk up the stairs to go into this other building. And now that building is the visitors area. And so you walk in, and directly to your left is where the guards sit, that's somewhat raised up where they're at. And so then I have to give them the last name of the inmate that I'm visiting. And so then they tell you what number table you're assigned. And so then you go to that table, you have to sit on a certain side of the table because the inmate always has to sit on a side that the officers over at that desk can see them easier. So so then you sit there and wait for your inmate to come. Sometimes they've come right away. There's been other times when I've literally been sitting in there an hour before an inmate comes in. And you know, it's so, oh my God, I don't have my cell phone. This is so boring. What do I do? You know, that you're sitting there forever. You'll hear a bell go off, and the bell goes off, so it's like somebody's ringing a doorbell every time an inmate arrives at that building. So they come in through a door on the other side of that building, and you don't see them, but they come in an entry room down there. They're patted down or whatever, and then they walk out and come to your table. So and what I have to do, since I visit 2 inmates, is I then visiting hours start at 9 a.m. So I try to get there as close to 9 as I can. It's a 2.5 hour drive for me there. So I visit with Marni because I always go with Marni first, because I know Melissa works during the day and Marni works at night. So I figure that's the easiest way to do it. So then I visit Marni from like 9 to noon ish, and I can't just leave whenever I want. It's the guards will announce there's a line going to the gate. You can only go back when a guard feels like taking a group of people back. So I'll visit with Marni until like 12 or 12:30, depending on when they'll call a line. Then I drink water. So I buy a bottle of water when we're there, and the officers are really cool that they now know that I'm going to be visiting a second person, because you're not allowed to bring any food or water out of that visitor's room, visitor's house, building, whatever you want to call it. So they let me leave my bottle of water with them at the desk. And so they'll announce there's a line going to the gate. Everybody who wants to leave then lines up at that door, and then the officer will walk us back through, so back the same way we came. Then we have to report to that desk where we checked in. We need to tell them our inmate's last name, so they pull the sheet out. Then they want to look and see that I have the clips and the earrings and the belt and the shoes. I have to sign out on the paper that I signed in at, on what time, and they give me my key. And so I'll do this so that I have to walk back after my Marni visit, go through all of that, go back through the metal detector, and start at the original thing again. Now fill that out, but now this time I'm going to visit Melissa. 2 clips, earrings, belt, shoes, sit over, have them pat me down again, wait to walk over, all that, so I have to go through all of that again. So Marni visit. Marni looks absolutely horrible. When she first walked out, every time either Melissa or Marni, when I visit with them, so when you see they're walking in, I stand up at the table, and when they come over to the table, I give them a hug. Marni is not a touchy-feely person. She wants a hug. But this time, usually it's just a hug, and I'm not a touchy-feely person either. So this time I hugged her, and she held on to me. And she said, "You don't know how much I need this right now." Then we sat down, and then that's when I saw her face. She looks horrible. So what is going on with Marni is she's told me about this before. So where Marni lives, it's a 4-person cell. So out of the 4 people staying in there, 1 woman is making life a living hell for all the other inmates. Now, not just in Marnie's room, it turns out the whole wing is being bothered by this one woman. Marni and the two other women in that cell have been reporting this woman's behavior. They have somebody in the other wing of that same building who is willing to switch with the trouble person. So that person will now room with Marni and the two other women, and the troublemaker will go where she was, and the people who are over there are fine with that woman going there. This woman is bullying Marni, threatening her, sexually harassing her. And this has been going on for a while. And Marni has roomed with this particular person for a year. But it's been the last several months that this woman has gotten really, really bad. And she's doing things like she won't let them sleep at night. And so she's opening the door, closing the door. Because again, it's not a prison like you think about on TV, so she's opening their door, closing their door. Because the woman is manic and is not taking any kind of prescription for it. So the woman doesn't sleep. And so then she's making it so nobody else can sleep as well. So that Marni is just so drained, so stressed. This woman she's been in prison for 20 years. She's there for murder. And according to Marni, the woman is guilty. But I wanted to know what her offense was, because obviously it's showing that she's got a record of being violent and she's making these threats. The woman also says that she's got a bad hip. She's 60 years old, this woman is. And she uses a walker, but then she uses that walker she shoves people with it. It's she's using this to hurt people with this walker that she needs. I guess the woman needs a hip replacement, and the doctors won't give it to her unless she's lost 10 pounds first, and she refuses to lose weight. Oh, she's also saying racist things towards Marni. The woman is black and Marni is white and Jewish. So some racial things has been thrown her way. Marni and the other people in her room, as well as people in her wing, have been complaining. Their families and friends have been complaining, calling up the warden. And things just keep being said of, we're working on it. But then they're basically telling the inmates, you don't get to decide who lives where. Even though Marni says they see on a regular, people switch rooms all the time there. It's nothing out of the ordinary. The only thing that I can guess is that since this woman is such a problem and a known problem, no matter where they move her to, she's going to be trouble. So they're just like, we're not even going to do this, to move her. So get over it. Now for Marni, the threats are ramping up against her, sexual harassment, everything. Though I talked about this on the last live, because that's when this had happened, or when Marni had told me about it, is her story. Dateline NBC had re-aired that case. And so this woman had it playing on her TV in the room and opened up the door and invited people in to hi Tammy, to then make fun of Marni. And now that Tammy's on here too, Tammy's the boss of the Marni case, and I'm never sure what I can say and what I can't about her case. But they're going to be filing for Marni soon. So she can't have anything happen at the prison. She can't be involved in any of this stupid stuff there. And so she's constantly having this one roommate who's stirring shit up. And Marni at this point is like getting scared that the woman's going to get violent with her. So she says, like, now when she goes to try and sleep at night, she's like shaking because she doesn't know if this woman's going to do something to her when she's sleeping. And people keep reaching out to the prison, to the Illinois Department of Corrections, and nothing is getting done. I've been trying to set up a meeting with our lieutenant governor, who says that what her number one platform is criminal justice reform, and that she's focusing specifically on this prison, because our lieutenant governor is female and she wants to laser focus on female inmates. So I'm trying to get a meeting set with her to and it's not just a Marni thing. There's a lot of things I know that's going on in that prison that needs fixing. So I want to talk to Juliana about that. And also, this is all very delicate because with Marni's case going to be filed, she doesn't want to be seen as the snitch, or, and so, she doesn't want me like calling the warden and saying, Marni Yang told me this and that, So I'm trying to think when I'm talking to her, because now I'm getting like desperate because I've never seen Marni that way. Not that I, know Marni that well. I don't know how long I've been visiting her, but it bothers me to see how upset Marni is right now. And she doesn't need this on top of, she knows a filing's going to happen. This will become international news. It's going to hit everywhere. Her kids are going to get attacked. She shouldn't have to be worrying about herself on top of everything else. I'm into politics and I have contacts. And so in talking to her about this, I was like, I think I have the perfect person that I know who is a state representative, that I could get that state representative to make a call into the Illinois Department of Corrections saying that she's been talked to by a constituent about something that's going on there. So then it's not going to single out Marni or anything like that. And this particular state rep is somebody who isn't afraid to take a stand. She actually started out, because I have an activist group. She started out as one of the members of my activist group. That's how I first met her. I had meetings and she came to a meeting. And so she ran for state rep in 2018. And state reps serve their, it's a 2-year term. So she's up for re-election in 2020, which politics starts Tuesday. Next week is when petitions can start being signed. So all state reps here in Illinois are up. So she also needs to do things to, help for her reelection. So when I got out of the prison, my BFF is really good friends with this state rep, and you can't bring your cell phone into the prison. So once I get back out to my car, I'm looking at my phone to see what all I've missed. Well, I've been in there all day. And so I had a message from him saying, can you talk? And so it was like, oh, he was the first person I was going to contact anyway when I got out, because I wanted to talk to him about this state rep, and did he think that she would want to jump on board for this? So it turns out he's going to a political event with her tonight. So he's going to be with her in person. So he is going to talk to her tonight about it. I gave him the backstory on it. And so he says he's going to tell her to give me a call tomorrow. So I will talk to her, whenever she calls me. Because also the state reps, they're not in session right now. Our people don't go back to work until beginning of October. So they're all back home in their districts. So she is not my state rep, but her district is a town over from me. So she lives right by me. So I will work on that. And Marnie's, she's like, how soon do you think she would do something? And I said, well, if she's in, she would make the call right away, but I don't know if that will make any difference for Marnie's situation at all. It's just when, I'm like, who can I have, who can I get to step in here that, me calling and saying, hey, blah, 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 who am I? They don't care about me. Well, what if I get a state rep? So we'll see what happens with that. And Marnie's like, oh my God, if this happens, I will owe you my next 3 lifetimes or something like that. And I'm like, you don't owe me anything. This is nothing, and it may be nothing, but I will try to help if I can. So we'll see if I talk to that rep tomorrow. Scrolling through people's comments, asking how I am. Miley saying Tawanda. So Tawanda. So people who might not know what Tawanda is. So movie Fried Green Tomatoes. There's a scene in there. There's a whole thing about Tawanda. You would have to, and so it becomes like a call of, that you're not going to take this anymore, and you yell Tawanda. When I drive to Southern Illinois, when I go to the prison or I go to Springfield, I drive through a town named Tawanda. So every time I drive through it, and it's just been something I've done forever, I have to tag in on Facebook that I went through Tawanda. So that's what Miley's referencing. Can anything be done? Can the warden become involved? The warden has been contacted, and the warden just keeps doing it. We're looking into it. So they're just saying that and not doing anything about it. And it's hard because, Marnie doesn't want this seen as Marnie Yang deserves special treatment. Because it's not just Marnie that's being affected. It's everybody that lives in the room with this woman. And now it's also affecting the entire wing. And I don't know. I don't know this woman. So I don't know if it's because she's manic and not on medication, and people just really should be medicating this woman, or also if she's manic, because I talked to Melissa about all this today too. And Melissa's like, yeah, that's not right. There's a house just for people like that are manic or whatever. So that woman shouldn't be in a house with other people that, she should be somewhere where they're dealing with that kind of behavior there. That's where that woman should go. And it's funny too, because, Melissa and Marnie know of each other. They don't know each other. They're not friends or anything like that. And so then in talking to Melissa, she's like, if I see Marnie, I'm going to ask her if she's talked to such and such, because Melissa is like known by everybody in the prison because of her job in the kitchen, that she works for the dietitian or and so like when they make up the menus and everything, it's Melissa that's walking all the grounds and handing out the menus to everybody. Melissa is, as she calls herself, a social butterfly. Um, Melissa is very respectful and proper. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Those kinds of things. She's never been any trouble to anybody. Now, but don't get me wrong, if people piss her off, she'll snap. And those are the words that Melissa uses too, that she will tell somebody, don't talk to me. She because like she gets mad at when people are disrespectful, and that kind of stuff. But so the guards and everything all know who Melissa is. They all love Melissa, so like they know that I'm visiting her, so they'll always ask me too, when is that girl going home? Because everybody there believes Melissa is innocent and should go home. And so then Melissa's like, she needs to talk to this, she calls him white shirt, so somebody who's in higher up, so I'm going to ask her if she knows so-and-so, because she should talk to such and such about it. And even while I was there visiting with Marni, she called over an officer because she wanted to talk to the officer about that roommate. And so then the officer's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not, and so then I said, what can Marni do in this situation? What is going on here? And then the officer said to me, no disrespect to you, pointing at me, but if Marni wants to talk about this, I'm happy to talk with her and help her however I can, one-on-one. And I take no offense to that. I totally get it. I'm, an outsider and they don't want to create, and absolutely understand. So hopefully Marni will hit up this woman because, I deal with her all the time too. She's like, even when I went to leave, because I always ask, I'm never sure. And I'm like, can I leave my water up here? And she's like, isn't it what you do every time? And I'm like, yeah, but I never know. And, so I hope Marni's able to talk to her. Somebody should give her some peace of mind, because this is rough. I really don't like what Marni is going through. All right, so there's Tammy telling you the dates. So the dates can, because I'm never sure what I can say and what I can't. So yes, so Marni's case is being filed on September 17th, and then the press conference will be on the 18th. Marni asked me today, because I go every other Wednesday. So she's like, where will you be? Will you be here? And I said, no, I'm going to the press conference. And then she said, oh, wait, so then you'll be here the week before. And because she's looking at things to break up that time on waiting for that filing. So she said her dad and her kids are coming to visit her this weekend. So she's quite excited about that. And then somebody from the Justice Review team is coming to visit her and is going to be bringing her the filing before it's actually filed, so she can read it. And that person from the Justice Review team is wonderful and really funny and entertaining. So, so that's a good thing for Marni too. So she'll have the visit from her dad and her kids, and then she'll have that visit. And then also I'll come down and visit at least, one time before the filing on the 17th. So, and she wants to be excited, but right now she's just mentally and physically exhausted because of what's happening in her room. So, so I'll do what I can. And Tammy, I think you know the name of the person I need the rep to contact, because Marni told me their name, their first name. I don't remember their last name or their title. So I'll need to get that from you, Tammy, if the state rep is going to make that call to see if they have any pull. let me scroll here. um, And yes, please write to Marni. She's happy to get your letters. I did tell her today we've talked about it before, but I told her how, like, when I do the lives in here, how I'm getting more and more of you that are interested and want to know about Marni's case. I told her how your number one concern is that alleged confession, and she can't wait to tell you what the truth is behind that tape. And so once the 17th hits, we're going to be able to go into that. And then Tammy and I have discussed how we will be doing a live chat where, you know, it won't be in here. We would do it in the CI group where we'll have Marni on the phone and you'll be able to talk to Marni in there. And Tammy will be there to moderate that discussion too on what can or can't be talked about, because that's also the thing that Marni isn't even sure about. That's where we come again to Tammy knows this case better than even Marni. So Marni's not sure what she can say and what she can't. So she will need to be prepped by Tammy on what she can say in that, what she can say once press comes calling and wanting to talk to her. I know she told me there is an interview that is set up already for her. And so, yeah, so she's unsure. And again, the being tired and stressed out, she can't think as clearly as normal. Because I've told y'all before, she has a brilliant mind. She's like a super smart, intelligent person. And she's right to the facts. You know, there's no bullshit with her. You know, she's not going to sugarcoat anything. She's just going to say things how they are. But she's just kind of, like I said, you could see it all over her face. She just is not herself. But yep, that's the name, Tammy. Gladys Taylor, deputy director. Because yeah, she told me that the name Gladys was spelled that way, a weird spelling. So, all right, where's my pen and paper? And I'm sitting here in the dark now to write down Gladys Taylor. So I make sure if I talk to that rep, Gladys Taylor, Dep Director. Okay. So, Marni's family has reached out. Marni's lawyer has reached out. And then other inmates are reaching out. And this Gladys has been contacted by people as well. So, something's got to be done. But other than that, Marni is hopeful. She's really excited still about what the citizen investigator group has done so far. She knows it's still a small group, but I've told her once her case hits the news, I know we're going to have people knocking down the door to get in there. But she just really likes that people are looking at the case, looking at the evidence, and not just automatically jumping to what you've seen on TV. She's protective of her kids, that, you know, her kids are going to be out in a spotlight. I said, well, hopefully it will help. Here we go with hopefully it will help sell this book that's, you know, by her kids. Oh, and Tammy, if you're still listening, and Tammy just posted. I have somebody that I know who owns a string of bookstores in my area. She owns like 4 bookstores. The bookstores have been around for like 40 years or something like that. So I was talking to Marni about what about me reaching out to her and seeing if we could get a book event with the kids at either her bookstore, or I've gone to some of her book events. But it was like I went to Stephen King. You know, she had it was Stephen King and Stephen King's son, because they wrote a book together. And so they have it at a big like auditorium at the local college. And so Stephen King doesn't just sign everybody's books. They have a set amount of books that have been signed. And you know, when you buy your ticket to go to this event, you can buy just a ticket for admission, or you can buy a ticket that covers that you get a copy of the new book. And so at random, some books were signed by Stephen King. And so I did not luck out and get one of the signed ones. And so the person I know who owns the bookstore, I played that douchebag card and I'm like, hey, Becky, I didn't get one of the signed books. And so she's like, okay, bring it to my Naperville shop. And so bring the one you got and exchange it, and I'll give you one with that's autographed. So now I have an autographed Stephen King copy. But Tammy, I could reach out to her and see if we could get something organized for the kids, because I think we should do some kind of book event like the week or 2 after the filing, when everybody's going to be chomping at something on the story. Okay. So citizens investigators, there is a post on in Gossip that somebody had asked me for how do they join the citizen investigators. So if you look at the page, you'll find the thread where somebody asked that, and I have the clickable links there on the step-by-step you have to do to get into that CI group, because you have to go to marniyang.com, and then up at top they have the CI group up there. You have to click on the CI group, then you have to click to register for it, and then that's when you're paying the $10. And I have to say this every time, this $10 goes towards this review team of experts. This money comes nowhere near me for people who are going to accuse me of trying to take this money. This money has nothing to do with me. It actually, Tammy is the one. And just the WMP Justice Review has a whole board. They're the ones that determine where that money is going. But, while I talk about the Marni case, Tammy, because Tammy can't just focus on one thing. Tammy's got to have like 27 balls in the air. So there's other cases that she's going to be bringing on. And so that's what this money goes for. So once you are registered and you've paid that $10 fee, then you can go to the citizen investigator group in Facebook and request to join it, because that's a closed Facebook group. And when Tammy knows that you've made the payment, then you get approved to be in that group. And so Tammy puts evidence in there, so right now there's 911 calls. There's crime scene photos, lots of goodies in there, and there are more to come. Marni sends a letter every Sunday. Tammy posts a letter from Marni in there where Marni is talking to you, her supporters. Marni is totally down with, if y'all, we could make a thread in the CI investigators of questions for Marni, and they can be emailed to Marni, and she will like include a question in her Sunday letter, that an answer if it's something that she can answer. And like I told you, Tammy's got 29,000 balls in the air. So you never know when she's going to drop new stuff in there. And once the filing and the press conference hits on the 18th, the 17th and 18th, then the floodgates are open. So we'll schedule something alive then too with the CI group, or I don't know if Tammy is going to want to do something, because there's also the WMP TV on Roku, and she's also got the YouTube channel for that. So we will then be opening that up where she's going to be doing different lives and stuff with like now the investigative team, where they're going to tell you what evidence they've looked into and what their determination is, what they have found in looking into that. So, but you're only going to get that in the CI group. So, yeah, Tammy. Yeah, no, Tammy's got way more than me going on. I think Tammy cares way more about humanity than even I do when I do all this stuff, because I'm only helping out this country. Tammy's also helping Africa, so she's helping a whole nother continent. So that way outranks me, Tammy. So that's where Marni's at in the visit with Marni. So I don't know. She likes doing crossword puzzles too. So like if you send her a letter, send her a crossword puzzle. Include a page of a crossword puzzle. See if she can figure it out. She's so smart. So smart. So send her a letter. Join the CI group. There'll be other cases in there. You're seeing the evidence, and Tammy knows this case backwards and forwards and back again, but it doesn't mean she's seen everything. She could have missed something. And Tammy has said as well in that CI group, she's very impressed at people have seen things a way she didn't see it. So no question, no comment is stupid. Don't feel intimidated that somebody had to have seen this. You're not punished for saying something that somebody already has talked about. You just never know. So please bring it up. If it's something that you don't want to post publicly, you can message Tammy privately and talk to Tammy about it. Tammy will take all your wisdom, all your ideas. Okay, Tammy, yeah, we'll do the live on Roku. So that's my visit with Marni. Now, my visit with Melissa is and we took this lovely picture today. I did post it on here. She took 2 pictures today. So there was one of her and I, and she took one of just her that she's going to mail to her parents, which is sweet. So she knows that there's a new judge on her case, but she doesn't know what that means or what's going on with it. And quite frankly, it confuses her and kind of upsets her. So she doesn't want to talk about it because she doesn't know what it means. She's waiting to hear from Kathleen. She needs Kathleen to reach out to her and explain it to her, and I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on. so she's nervous and doesn't want to talk about it, and we don't ever talk about the alleged crime or anything like that. We don't go there. I don't ever ask her any questions on that. No, she doesn't want that, to talk about that. Something she told me, and I visited with her, like I said, after Marni, so I didn't discuss this with Marni, but Melissa found out that they are finally going to be able to get tablets starting October 1st. So I have here, you can sign up for an account. Here's the link, and I don't know if this will work. On the GTL Connect network, where you can sign up to have an account. And then from there, there's also there's a whole page on tablet, because what she'll be able to do with the tablet is, well, they'll be able to see their email and do their video chats. And it's something we discussed on a prior thing that, sometimes trying to get the phone and stuff, there could be a fight over it and people arguing over phone time, blah, blah, blah. And so Melissa's like, I could just sit in my bed and be on her tablet and not have to, be around any other people. So she would have access to that. And then she would also be able to have music, so there'd be music on there and games. So she said, like Candy Crush and stuff like that. So that's another payment on top of what the tablet will cost. She thinks the whole total will be like $200. I'm not sure on all the details of it, but she had received the money a long time ago. Somebody had donated the $200 for her to get the tablet, and then the tablet thing didn't happen. So, and I believe she was trying to hold on to that money and save it for when tablets were available. And I don't think she has it currently. So I'm like, I'll put it out there. I'm sure we can get the 200 plus whatever the subscription cost is going to be for her to be able to play games and listen to music. So what you'll be able to do, because I want to keep everything on the up and up, because I'll be accused of taking that money, is if you open this account, it's a way you'll be able to put money directly on Melissa's books, that it doesn't have to go through me at all. You put the money directly on her books, and then she'll have it that she can then buy the tablet when it's available October 1st. I'm not telling you to give it to Kathleen, even though I know Melissa could reach out to Kathleen and say, hey, could I have this for this? I just figure this is probably the easiest and quickest way for Melissa, because who knows what Kathleen is dealing with on a given day, that, transferring money over to Melissa would not going to be a priority. So instead, just put the money directly on Melissa's books. You will need her inmate number, which is, you can, I'll make a post on that with her inmate number and everything. So donate it directly to her, that you're able to do with, a Visa card, your debit card or whatever. I'm not sure about those of you out of the country, if you're able to make a payment through that. If not, I do have a PayPal account. That's my PayPal. If you want, you can send the money to my PayPal and I'll make sure she gets it. And I know I'll be accused of stealing it by people, but so if you're not able to figure it out here or can't, let me know and we can work something out there. But I'd like to make sure that that Melissa gets a tablet. And Tammy, I'm sure you will talk to Marni before I do. Find out if Marni wants one. If we need to be raising money for Marni to get a tablet. And I'm sure Marni, because Melissa has done it as well, going, well, I'm not going to be here that long, because, you know, they get hopeful and they really think that they're going to get another trial, and then they'll be transferred from that prison to county to await their trial and all that. So it's like, I'm not going to bother, you know, why would I get that? It's just $200. You know, if all of us just put in $5, you know, we could get that $200 so they can have a tablet, and the tablet can go home with them. So it's not like it's a total waste that, say something happens in the case and wow, they're getting out tomorrow. The tablet goes with them. Now, I know I've talked to Melissa about that in the past, and she's like, when she leaves, she doesn't want stuff that reminds her of there. She doesn't want it. And I'm like, then donate that tablet somewhere. Donate it to a daycare, school, or, you know, you don't need to keep it. You know, find a good place for it. Because I believe they won't let her just give it to another inmate, that she can't just leave it behind, you know, that she has to take it with her. But we'll go over that. You know, I'll make a post on that for people to, you know, donate money to Melissa and get her a tablet. Melissa says she thinks she's been depressed, like the last week, because all she wants to do is like lay around and sleep. And I was like, oh my God, I was going through the exact same thing last week, that I was just like laying around and sleeping. She's playing softball though, and they keep trying to have a softball tournament, and they keep getting rain down there. So but she's enjoying softball and doing that, and she works a whole lot. So trying to keep busy when she's not just sleeping. So, and she talked, if you're ever in Melissa's Facebook group that her aunt runs, there is a supporter who writes to Melissa quite often and sends her like handwritten cards and pictures drawn on the cards. And so the woman in the past has like sent Melissa a card where she's also written on there messages that people have posted for Melissa in the Facebook group. And so Melissa said she really, really likes that. And so the woman has a post in Melissa's group asking people to, you know, messages of encouragement or something for Melissa, and she's going to include it in another card. So please go on over to the official Melissa Kaluzinski Facebook group and find that thread and post in there, because Melissa's looking forward to that. And you can write her your own letters. But I told you in the last live I did, their mail system is so screwy there. So it could take a while for them to get it. And hold on, my dogs have been outside this whole time, and now they're wanting to come in. So stare at the wall. Oh, and let me tell you this about Marni today too. It was, so now, you know, she doesn't look good. She's not feeling well. Marni always wants a parfait. You know, yogurt, and it's got the granola and the fruit and all that. So this time I didn't even wait for her to get there. I just bought it. So it was sitting at the table when she got there, and she's like, I don't really have an appetite and I haven't really been eating. I'll try. She ended up eating the entire parfait. Then at some point during the visit, she says, what do you think about fried chicken or a cheeseburger? And I was like, it's up to you. What would you like? And she said, chicken. And so then I got her a thing of fried chicken. Hey, sorry. So I got her fried chicken. And then later, because she always wants to finish the visit with a Klondike bar. And so she ate it all. You would think my dogs would be all settled after being outside, but no, they're running around like crazy. So that makes me feel good too, with everything that's going on, that she got some food and, you know, got to eat. So, and, you know, and she's going to have a visit, like I said, from her dad and her kids. So that means this weekend. So she'll get, you know, some more food. Melissa ate well today too. Hey, had all her usual. And it's funny too. Marni, every visit, she has never gotten anything to drink. And, so now I'm getting chicken and stuff for her too. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want anything to drink? I'm like, you never drink. And, she's like, I'll tell you about that when you get back, because, you know, when I go to get the food or microwave the food or throw garbage away, I have to do it. The inmate can't get up and do it. So then she tells me when she was in another prison, before that prison closed and then they all went to that one, on every visit, they were constantly doing full naked search of the inmates. So they would get searched when they came into the visitor's room. If they went to use the bathroom, they would be searched before they went in. They'd be searched when they'd come out of the bathroom. And then they're searched again when they leave. You know, the full take your clothes off, bend over and cough, all that stuff. So she's like, she's just so used to, hey, not drinking anything during a visit so she doesn't get the extra strip searches. And this prison doesn't do that, but she's just so used to, I'm not going to drink anything because I don't want 6 strip searches. Let me scroll. Thank you, Miley, for helping with the donation. Yeah, so the visit went well with Melissa. I don't know who's calling me from Los Angeles right now. Melissa said, you know, she's waiting to hear from Kathleen, so she'll know for sure what's going on case-wise. But until then, she's just going to keep doing what she's doing and try not to think about it and worry about it. So I will be going to visit them then, like the week before Marni's filing. You know, and then everything will hit the fan, because once that filing's out, here we go. All right, I think that is everything I was going to cover on the visits, and I've been on for an hour, and they allegedly just left me a voicemail, whoever it is calling from LA. If something develops in any case, you know, we'll jump on live. In the meantime, you know, head over to that CI group, you know, join the CI group and get in there and see what you can get figured out in Marni's case. And also, I've told you before too, that if you see stuff after all this stuff comes out and you still think guilty, I want to know why. Tell me your reasons for thinking guilty, you know, devil's advocate, you know. So what holes do we have in that case that isn't getting it so people see her innocence? So, all right. Well then, yeah, Hollywood agent. And if I get an update on her on Marni's room situation, I will update you guys all on that, because, you know, I'm sure there's those of you who do care now about her well-being and want to make sure she's okay. So I will update you on that if we get a development. So, all right, I'm out because I literally got home, was able to let my dogs out, pee, and then came on live. So I've been gone since 6:30 a.m. So I'm now going to chill out. So I will talk to you guys soon.